Hi, this is David K, and you're listening to Altered Geek. Geek.
Get altered, get geeky, it's a wild ride. Join the discussion, let's dive into lore. From Star Trek to Transformers, we're ready to soar. Superheroes clash as we spark up the flame. Altered Geek podcast, remember the
Hello
name.
and welcome to Altered Geek. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me on this adventure into geekdom is TFG1 Mike.
Oh boy, what a week we've had between the GCR and not GCR, the pull. Wait, was it? I don't remember. I interviewed you.
Yeah,
your
it was
book.
Geekcast Radio.
That's what I thought it was. I can't keep the 40 shows, over 4,000 episodes. I can't keep any of this crap straight anymore. Between that, interviewing Tom Zoller, a whole bunch of other stuff, it's been one hell of a week here at Geekcast Radio Network. And then we got all this news and all these topics and... Oh boy. So how have you been, sir?
Over the last week, I spoke to some elementary school kids about podcasting, so that was cool. Then I've been fiddling around with some WordPress plugins, using handy dandy AI to help me with that because more or less, I'm trying to cut down on the amount of plugins on the website.
Yep.
And I'm trying to combine because I knew that the site was slow and clunky, and then periodically there would be an issue. And a couple of the plugins constantly were having security issues or whatever. So I took a list of all of the plugins on the site and the theme and all the features I was trying to have, and dumped the whole thing into AI. And don't get me wrong, like I don't use it for everything. I'm having more fun with it developing plugins than I am anything else right now.
Yeah, you're using it as a tool as it should be used. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm also like, I know how to ask it the questions of what I'm looking for.
Yep.
So your novice AI user is going to ask it simple tasks like, looking up information or, what can I make with this, types of food or just things like that. Me, I'm sitting there giving it a laundry list of just things I want it to do.
Yep.
And it's uber complicated. Like occasionally I'll use it to rewrite some of my like paragraphs that I'm dumping into something so I don't sound like a complete unorganized fool. But I fed it the information and just tell it to rewrite it. And but I mean, like this is kind of like outside of using the theme song music that I was doing for a while.
Right.
And I've kind of landed on some that I like, and so I really don't have a reason to use any of the AI music at the moment outside of like this show intros for some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So I haven't really gone back to that. Well, what I've been doing though is developing WordPress plugins, and so I had it dump all of our catalog of everything, and it's like, these are resource intensive, dump these. Here's some alternatives rather than like developing a new app for something or a new plugin. It's like these ones are going to be the leanest and give you what you're looking for without having to spend a bunch of dev time. And I'm like, sweet. And so I've replaced quite a few. Like we had an SEO plugin, the other one was bloated, and then they constantly were like, oh, upgrade to our pro version. And so they gave me this other one that's more of a streamlined. And then I had a newsletter app, and then I had like something else. Some of them, mind you, were not active, but I dumped them in anyway. And it was like, dump this one if you're not using it, use this other thing, and so I'm developing like kind of a newsletter template maker that essentially pulls from, it's automated. So that's my biggest pet peeve with the newsletter stuff and why I've never done one. I don't want to sit there and fiddle with it. I want it to automate. I want it to build, and I just want it to send out on a weekly occurrence, not on an episode occurrence. And so, or a post. And that was kind of how it was set up presently. And then I had a bazillion different plugins specifically for one or two features, or like these monster plugins that had literally 1 or 2 features I was using, and the rest of it was just bloating the site. And it was like, if you want this, use this. If you want to use this, use this. If you want to use this, use this. And then it got down to it. And I was helping somebody in the RSS space, which is, for those that don't know, it's an RSS.com member only Slack channel. And so I've been in there a while helping people navigate podcasting. A lot of people getting into the space, or a lot of people that are like, I'm trying to connect my RSS feed to WordPress, and I'm like the foremost knowledge on that.
Yep.
Which has been great. I've had a lot of fun kind of spreading the wealth of knowledge of decades of experience on WordPress. And so that's been fun. And in the process, somebody was like, well, I want to have, clips recorded by listeners and have it incorporated on the website, or, on my podcast, or be able to, listen to them on air, or, whatever. And I was thinking back, and I was like, man, what did we use back in the day? And somebody mentioned SpeakPipe. And I was like, why does that sound familiar? And I was like, I swear we've used that. And so I went back to archive and I found it. And back then it was free. And I think it's still free for certain stuff, but I don't love the idea of having to sign up for another website to put your personal info on.
Yep.
I don't love the idea of somebody constantly trying to hook you with a subscription. And it's nothing against any of these developers or these software people, or, people trying to make residual money. I totally get it. Like, if I was smart, any of the things I'm developing, I would do as a subscription. But I also can't consciously sit there and do it when I myself have a problem with subscriptions.
Yep.
And they're constant. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean,
yep.
Yeah. I mean, your utilities are a subscription. Your if you got Comcast, Xfinity, that's a subscription. Those are things you can't do without. However, like a Netflix, or, an Apple TV, or, Amazon Prime, or some of these other things, there's a lot of services you could go without. And podcasting is no different. It's, in fact, we're going to get into that later.
Yep.
More specifically, but podcasting is full of gatekeeping and full of people trying to sell their crap to you.
Yep.
Which, again, is why, and I know it sounds like counterintuitive here, like, of why I wrote a book, but I'm also not ripping people's heads off on it and, buy it, don't buy it, whatever. Like, I'm indifferent either way. Like,
go listen to
there if you want it.
Episode 350, folks. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's there if you want it. But it's I built it as a primer instead of trying to be like, oh, here's the tricks on how you're going to get monetized, or get money, or, be hugely successful. And I'm not trying to sell all that. I'm trying to give you like the building blocks to do your own thing, and just from decades of experience. And a lot of these services, while yes, they are fixing a need in the industry, a lot of them are corporate backed, or they're like radio backed, or television backed, or they're not even true podcasting. They're just trying to get your money. And then they're like, well, you need this. Well, no, I can't afford this. Like, I'm even in the same boat.
Want your contact information. It's funny you're saying this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's funny you're saying this. I've seen in the last 3 days, as of recording this, we're recording this Monday, August 25th, 2025. In the last 3 days on Instagram, I've seen ads for, do you want the best this tip or that tip for this tech or that tech? YouTube video creators, do you want the best tips here? I have all this information. I've compiled it all for you. You can have it here if you just click here, or if you send me this message using this term. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, you just want my information. You say this is free.
100%.
Yeah,
because
but you just want my information. Like,
well, and
no.
that's the thing is they cannot remarket to you.
Yep.
I mean, I work in marketing. I get it.
I know. Yeah.
If I give out a gift card, I
Mhm.
hand you a physical gift card. There's no remarketing.
Yeah.
There's no contact information. There's no transaction between two people. It's physically me giving a gift.
Yeah.
So at that point, that's why a lot of like things like what I'm doing, like we're pushing a text club. It's like, oh, join the text club so that you can get this freebie. It's not. And yes, there are perks to that sometimes if it's something you're genuinely interested in, but it seems like everybody wants to have your data. And the main issue I have with it is with all of these data breaches, with all of these things going on, and on top of it, you don't know what you're getting. Like you really don't. Like you could sign up for something. I've had them where they'll, I'll give them one of my extra email accounts and sign up for something and end up in this conundrum that I don't find what I was given valuable.
Yeah.
But I've already given the information, or each time they publish something new and they're like, well, give us your information for downloading this other file. And it's like, I already gave it to you, dude. Like, why do you need it twice? And who knows what they're doing with it, like your data, whether they're selling it or going to use it to remarket or, try and promote some other service, whatever. I personally have this issue. Like, I don't love any subscription that is just trying to rip your head off. Like, I like Canva and I do pay for it, but I find value in it. And I guess that's the other thing too. Do you find value in it? Or is it another thing that's like uber expensive to tie you into? Like I can count it back to the days when I had Predacon Empire. I had a bootleg version of vBulletin installed on the site. And I think I learned of it because I think at the time TFW had it or still has it or whatever. But it was the best bulletin board software. And I paid for it once and it was like $200 a year. And I'm like, this isn't even my hosting. This is just the forum software.
Yep.
And they invalidate it like after you're done, and it's like, I don't love this. And so like I had a bootleg copy for a while and then I was like, I can't keep sitting on a bootleg. So I eventually switched over to like PHP bulletin board, which is free, open source. And I had to replicate everything I did in the other one. But point of me saying that is a lot of these podcast services, whether it's for filling out forms or filling out for newsletters or filling out for, you name this, the type of service, there's always a catch. They give you just enough to be dangerous. And then they're like, if you want all these, unlock the pro version. So that's essentially kind of what prompted this, was between the RSS space and the fact that I can't stand how expensive they're making it to get a entry point into podcasting. And so going back to my SpeakPipe part of this, like they're not bad. I've used them. They're great. Like I don't have the money to pay them to do it.
Right.
It was a great feature when we used it. Granted, we don't get the type of replies we used to either. But we also used to use like, a voicemail line with Skype.
Yep.
And so we had all these different things that kind of played into it. Nowadays, there's nothing really. I mean, yeah, you have stuff, but I mean, there's not a lot of that vocalization. So I started building my own app and then putting it together. And then, what do I want in this? What features do I want? How can I make this better for podcasters? One, it's going to be free. I'm going to eventually put it up on download on Geekcast Radio.
Yep.
And the other part of it is I'm building it in such a way you can watch the waveform while you're talking. You can see the waveform after you finish recording. But it's programmable that if you have a podcast network like we do, something I've never seen.
Yeah.
I can put the show name as one of the drop-down toggles and associate it with an email account. So like if it's Cinema Geeks, it'll go right to Kevin.
Yep.
If it's the pull bag, it'll go right to you. Now, granted, they'll still have to log into the geekcastradio.com dashboard to access the actual file and play it, but it'll give you a direct link.
Yeah.
So as long as you're logged in, you'll get it. It'll say, hey, you got, this clip from so-and-so. Here's their email, and here's the, here's the link to the clip. And, it was filed under the subject of feedback or, topic suggestion or, something. Like I built it out so that it was like kind of multivariable there. And I built it just because I was talking to people on RSS, and I'm like, this would be super helpful for people that want that feature. I don't see us using it heavily outside of like a special of some kind, whether it's on All Things Transformers or Altered Geek or, Pullback Anniversary Show or maybe an Origin thing or, something.
But if we want to offer the option to, like we always say at the end of every outro I've ever written in the last, I would say at least 15 years, all the outros that I ever run through at the end of every show, send us email feedback at geekcastradio.com. And that, as you already alluded to, we used to have a Skype voicemail number. Call us 502-526-5821. Don't call that number, folks. It doesn't work anymore. But the point is, there used to be a feature where you could call us and send us your voicemails if you wanted to do that, if you were a person that wanted to call in. And that's the point. Again, yes, podcasting is not radio. However, we can still be radio-ish in the way of, hey, would you like to have your voice on a podcast? Would you like to be able to vocalize instead of sitting there writing out an email? Would you like to just sit in front of a microphone or sit there in your closet on your whatever phone you have and say, hey guys, I really like the show. I prefer this comic over that comic, or Mike, your opinion about blah, blah, blah is so stupid, whatever, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, once we actually roll this out, I am going to be heavily promoting every listener to be sending us the, if they so want to, that's great. Full tilt, all in, because we haven't had that in years, because we just haven't. Because
honestly, the other thing too, every time we update the website, things change.
Yeah,
and I say that because we go for a certain set of features, and then certain set of features
change.
They change, or we phase out something, and then it just gets forgotten.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened with SpeakPipe at some point. And what I love about this is it stores it in the WordPress media library.
Nice.
So we'll be able to pull them up. I'm also developing, I've seen it by other organizations, and it's like a paid feature on, like, it's a Code Canyon, the theme function. Actually, our theme has this feature. It doesn't work because of it works if you do the podcast the way that they intended in the theme. I am not doing that because I heavily modify everything when I do the back end of the site. And so the sticky audio player has never worked.
Yeah.
It worked in the demo of the site because that's what I built it off of. But the problem with that is the files, it didn't take into consideration. It was if you did all the manual labor.
Right.
And I'm like, we have 4,000 episodes. There's no way I'm going through that.
Yeah, no.
So I rebuilt. I'm developing that right now, a sticky player that if you click any other player or MP3 link on the website. Like if you're on a set page and you press it, it will load the sticky player.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Very cool.
I'm still working on that. I've gotten it to show up. I haven't gotten it to play yet, do the transfer of audio, but I'm still tweaking that. It's almost ready. I'm playing around with it on one of my other sites, and then as it's easier to break this site and fix it than Geekcast Radio. So when it's ready, it goes on Geekcast Radio.
Yeah.
So
see, this is why Steve is the web guy, folks. He has all these other test websites that he can use, because we break geekcastradio.com. Y'all ain't ever going to hear from us again. We're going to come back as something completely, totally different.
I can load a backup.
I know.
But I don't. Yeah, I haven't broken any of them that bad yet.
Thankfully.
But yeah, I'm using my personal site, and then I've got like one for Altered Trek that used to be Future Imperfect, and I'm playing around with both and kind of finagling and breaking them on purpose. And well, not on purpose. It depends on how it gets written.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I'll have the voice clip plugin probably over the next week or so. I'm almost done with all the features that I've been trying to get into the back end of it. The front end of it's fine. It works. But every time I keep trying to add this one feature into the back end, it screws up the front end. So I'm just I'm just going to leave it as is.
Yep.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm doing stuff like that to try and help podcasters, like the sticky player thing. I'm developing this, one's like an interactivity thing.
Mm-hmm.
That I have to flesh out a little bit more, but it's essentially going to be like a live voting page type thing of like movie theory. And then I'm playing around with some other ideas of putting like maybe, the up and coming films of the year or something on the site. Cause we used to do that, but it was all manual labor. Like I'm going to automate it.
Yeah.
Anytime I can automate something, I'm going to go that direction. But the other thing I'm working on, it's a podcast all-in-one plugin.
Nice.
So essentially this one, the goal of it anyway is to allow you to combine features of a multitude of the different podcasting plugins. Like some of the features in each one of them is good, and I say some, but it's recreating it from the ground up, because I'm not using their code. I'm not letting it. I'm telling it exactly what features I want embedded into this plugin, but I'm not like uploading a zip file of the origin.
You're not Zuckerberging it.
No. I'm purposely keeping it. I want it original. I want it something that I can use, or other people. I'm not going to profit off of it, because I'm just going to give it away.
I should say you're not Winklevossing it, because Zuckerberg didn't steal the code.
Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, I'm also not promoting a specific.
Right.
Like if you get PowerPress, for instance, you have Blueberry.
Yep.
As your the one that they're trying to promote, because they developed it. If you go to Seriously Simple Podcasting, they're trying to promote Castos podcast, and we use their plugin now. We used to use PowerPress, but PowerPress got to be too bloated, and when we made the switch, I switched it on the site for this new version that we have now, but it was the other version before. I'm also like, there's a lot of features that I have additional plugins installed for. Like if I get this plugin the way I want it, I'll be able to eliminate 4 other plugins.
Yay.
And also cut down on the file size. So, I mean, it's when I get it done, I'll pretty heavily promote it and probably do a tech review of it.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, like this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about, though. Like I'm actively working for the indie, but yeah. So I'll get more into the podcast sphere and conventions there
In a little bit.
a little bit later down on the road, but I think this is a good transitionary point before we go back to that to dive into some of our Super Troopers.
Oh God! I think I sent this to you. I think
you did. I didn't even know it was a thing.
So okay. So this is how I find news, like 3 or 4 different ways. Either you send it to me, I'm doom scrolling through Facebook or Instagram Reels, or I am on my homepage of my Google Pixel 7 Pro and I swipe left, or left, right. Yeah, left. And I go to my Google feed. And I make sure when I'm on my Google feed that I look at I don't just scroll through here to see what the stuff is. Like I don't just click on these links. I look to see, like, okay, so perfect example. First 3 or 4 stories. Android Central, the Pixel 10 battery is basically programmed to tap out after 200 cycles. Well, that's not good. Yahoo Entertainment, over 700 classic Looney Tunes shorts rescued from Warner Brothers, now streaming for free. Sponsored something Mois. I'm not tapping on that. That's a sponsored thing. I'm not tapping on that. Tech Radar, with pressure from the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, the Samsung Galaxy Z Folds. So you get my idea. Like I'm looking for the stories, but I'm looking at I'm looking at the sources that the stories are coming from. I'm not just looking at the links specifically. And I also look for, when I'm doom scrolling, like Pop Culture Brian. I don't know if you follow him or not on whichever.
Yep.
So, okay,
I watch his stuff. His stuff's pretty interesting, and I like that it's bite-sized.
Yeah, absolutely. So I usually, not that I don't trust the guy, but I usually try to find a linked store. Like I don't just link his videos.
Cross-reference.
Yeah, exactly. So this Deadline story about Super Troopers 3 starting production soon or whatever. I was like, really? Super Troopers 3? When was the second movie? I don't even remember the second movie because I know I never watched it. Because Super Troopers to me is one of those movies, the original movie that came out back in the 90s, I think. Was it the 90s? Crap, I don't even remember how. Maybe I'm drinking too much of that maple syrup, Vermont. The original movie is one of those movies where it's hilarious. It's funny as hell. I liked it. I liked all the characters for the most part. But it's a one and done to me. It's one of those movies that is very much a one and done. Did not need like when I sent you this, I'm like, I didn't even see the second one. I don't even remember the second one. I don't even remember the trailer to the second one. What I remember about the second one is whenever they announced that there was a second one, they were going to release it on 4/20. That's what I remember. Is it released on whatever year it released was April 20th because, you know, toker, joker, smoker. So, you know, I saw this and I was like, oh, cool. We can mention this really quick and move on. So if you have any thoughts, mention them. And then let's go to Iron Man.
So I saw Super Troopers 1 and that was good. Super Troopers 2.
It's 2018, by the way. I'm on it now.
Yeah, it felt like it shouldn't have been made. Like I love the Broken Lizard guys that do the films. I didn't love the second film. Like the second film, like they literally had a dude smacking something with his balls on something. Like it was just, I was like, okay, man, like why, like I didn't get it. Like, and then they had Rob Lowe in it as the bad guys. And then I think there was them against the Canadians.
So I'm on Wikipedia, and again, folks, Wikipedia, grain of salt. Several years after the first film, the officers have been fired from the Spursbury Police Department after taking actor Fred Savage on a ride-along that resulted in his death. Favre is now a construction supervisor with Mac and Rabbit. Working for him, Thorny works in logging, and Foster lives with his girlfriend and former coworker. I don't know. Just
It wasn't good enough that I would watch it again. The first film is still funny to watch
still,
again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so and I mean, maybe they can recapture it. I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth it. But I did like when, because they had Heffernan and Steve Lemmy, and they created
Everybody's
another
back.
show, Tacoma FD.
Oh, okay.
It was the fire department show, and it was very much like Super Troopers, but with fire departments versus the police. And it was actually really good.
Yeah.
I genuinely enjoyed it. And it's on Netflix right now. It was on True TV, and it went like 5 seasons and then got canceled. But
And then Netflix got it. Yep.
But it was funny. Like, it was, you know, and then they had like Heffernan's character have, you know, his daughter join the same fire department that he works at. And so they had to like curtail stuff to having a woman in the, you know, the fire department and stuff. But she showed that, you know, she could play along the same jokes. And it was, I don't know, it was just humorous and funny in a different way.
Yeah.
And so like, I almost feel like they're better off going in some direction like this, creating something different and kind of having fun with it rather than rehashing Super Troopers.
Yeah.
But
well, I don't know if this is going to change, but in 2018, they announced the title of the third movie, Super Troopers 3 Winter Soldiers. I don't know if that's going to change. And then August, obviously, this year, production has officially started. And that's essentially what this story is that the troop... Vermont State Troopers are back for a third go-around in Searchlight Pictures Super Troopers 3 with Broken Lizard Gang going before the cameras at the end of this week. And that was posted on August 20th. So, yeah, they're back, folks. They're back. I don't know. Like we said, the first movie is really where it's at.
And then watch Tacoma FD.
Yeah. And I'll watch a trailer for Super Troopers 3 just to see when a trailer comes out. But in general, I don't know. All right. So the 17-year-old Iron Man clue that predicted RDJ's return as Dr. Doom. Technically, it's an over 50-year-old clue because the Black Sabbath song is over 50 years old, Iron Man. And they used that song in Iron Man. So for those that have never heard Black Sabbath's Iron Man, he was burned to steel in a great magnetic field, planning his vengeance that he will soon unfurl. Vengeance from the grave kills the people he once saved. So as I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned fair, but just the nobodies on Instagram, I had came across this Instagram reel from them. How the song Iron Man predicted Tony Stark becomes Dr. Doom. I think this is a fucking leap. I'm sorry to use the F-bomb. That's my one F-bomb of this show. But shit, come on, guys. It's a song. I get it. You're inferring that it, but like I understand what they're saying. I get it because he was once Iron Dr. Doom and it's an actor, whatever. But like, come on. There's no way that back in the 70s, Black Sabbath could have predicted anything to do with Robert Downey Jr. Like, nope.
I has a theory, and I
Go
need
ahead.
time. Well, and this is, I don't know if I pinned it on,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I don't know when I posted it either,
Oh,
which
no.
sucks. Yeah. Anyways, I'm pretty sure.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I posted it in April.
April Fools.
I'm pretty sure. Oh no, this one was about what I watched on the Marvel television.
Okay.
I made a prediction, and once I find it, I'll bring it back up. But
Yep.
I made a prediction about who I think is going to be in this film
Yep.
before we ever had any information.
Yep.
I also had an opinion on what is going to kind of play out with Doctor Doom,
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man.
Yeah, and okay. I you can say your prediction in a minute. I'm going to say this though. It fits into what the comics have been, because there is a version of Tony Stark that was Doctor Doom, the invincible. Not what is it? What's it called? Oh God, there's a specific name for this. It's not invincible. It's not insidious. God, what is that? There's a specific version of Iron Man that is Doctor Doom kind of thing. But go ahead. What's your thing here?
I don't know if I found it yet.
Okay. So there's
Yeah.
the only reason why I know this is a Funko Pop, and then that led me down to researching the actual whole thing. And I can't remember what the name of it was. But like when they made that announcement, when they did the whole SDCC thing, and you see all the guys in the robes, and they come out and they make room, and this other guy in the other robe comes out, and he reveals himself, and he pulls the mask off, and you know what his line is? New mask, same task. Everybody lost their collective spit. Because hello, like I have that audio. I'll send that audio to you. I don't know if you'll put it in the episode, but I'll send that audio clip to you. Everybody lost their schmidt because holy crap, RDJ is back. Because yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I am severely excited for phase 6, because we're in phase 6 now. I have to remember that phase 5 is over. I keep forgetting that we're already out of phase 5, that we're already in phase 6, which is so weird to me.
So I found it.
Uh-huh.
Posted it July of 2024.
Ah, okay.
My speculation was, got a theory on Avengers Doomsday Secret Wars. Robert Downey Jr. will be the infamous Iron Man variant.
Infamous, that's what it is.
And will still be Tony Stark, but one from another universe, or a version resurrected from Endgame with the scarring.
Yes.
So I said or a version resurrected from Endgame with the scarring.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which, if that's the case, what was the I Am Iron Man song?
Oh, yeah, that's Black Sabbath.
No, I know, but I'm saying like the line.
The line from Endgame is "I am Iron Man."
No. I meant the lyrics.
Oh,
that
the
you read
lyrics?
earlier.
Oh, hold on. Where'd it go? Where are you? That's he was turned to steel in a great magnetic field, planning his vengeance that he will soon unfurl. Vengeance from the grave kills the people he once saved.
Vengeance from the grave kill the people he once saved.
Yep.
If that's the case,
Yep.
a version resurrected from Endgame with the scarring.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it says, and then I said there'll be some tomfoolery afoot, and he'll get revived either by his nanite suit injections or another method to fight the Avengers, both past and present, and the mutants.
Yep.
And the lineup, and then I went down to go do the lineup of, Deadpool, Wolverine, of Hugh Jackman, Spider-Man, Toby, or Andrew, Thor, Hulk, Captain America's, both, Hawkeye, Strange, Elektra, etc. And then I put, just as a extra thing, I'm 85 to 90% right in my predictions.
Yeah, exactly.
So
okay,
if this, I pinned it to my profile, so if people want to see it and be able to tag it, it's literally like as soon as I heard Endgame was coming, or not Endgame, but Doomsday. I was like, I was like, all right, I'm jumping on this. Like,
yep.
As soon as like they revealed the, Robert Downey Jr. clip, I was like, this is what came about. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
They're going to resurrect a Tony Stark totally ticking off the entire MCU.
Yep.
And they won't care because they're going to reboot thing anyway.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, and that's the other thing that they had mentioned, that they said reset. Yep. They didn't say reboot. They said reset. He said reset. So they're going to reset the 616 because let's face it, and I'm
all aged out.
Yeah, I'm perfect, and I'm perfectly fine with, like, look, man, we got what 24, 20. Well, by the time phase 6 ends, let's in phases 1 through 3, we got 23 films. How many other franchises have 23 films? Like, outside of horror, because horror is just horror. I mean, that's a whole other bag of whatever. But, like, in action movies, like, in general, because the whole superhero genre is a whole thing. But, like, not a lot of action movies have 23 films, and then, so reset, recast, whatever. And that's fine because we still have those. Go ahead.
I think we'll end up with Cavill as the new Wolverine, though. That's why they teased it.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Although I would be happy with them getting a shorter, younger guy to play him.
Yeah.
That looks gruff.
Yeah, they need to find somebody. Like, Cavill could play old, grizzled, chiseled Wolverine. He could play Old Man Logan type Wolverine.
Or just, they could technically just keep Hugh Jackman for Old Man Logan and have young Logan as, the new actor.
Yeah, true that.
But right. So anyways, my prediction.
Yep, your prediction.
We'll have to wait until,
the
next year to find out if I'm right 100% on how Iron Man comes. But
yep.
Yeah.
So we go from movies to television, shifting gears. Season 2, episode 1, the premiere. We have a Home Improvement and Last Man Standing reunion. Take it away.
So it's less of a Last Man Standing and more of a Home Improvement.
True. Yeah.
I know that 2 of these 3 appeared on Last Man Standing for a one-off, including Tim Allen playing himself from Home Improvement.
That's funny.
Which, honestly, would be hilarious.
Yeah.
If he did it again.
Yes, it would be.
But anyways, they're going to do a reunion set for Shifting Gears Season 2 premiere. Yes, the premiere. Yep. They're going to have Patricia Richardson, Richard Karn, and Debbie Dunning to appear. And they obviously played some of the major characters in Home Improvement. Jill,
Yep.
Al, and
Heidi.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it. I mean, they already had Nancy Travis come back from Last Man Standing.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see if we get any of the three sons from Home Improvement to come back. But yeah, Patricia played Helen Potts in Last Man Standing.
That's right.
And then Jonathan Taylor Thomas came back in that for, multitude of episodes. And then they insinuated for her part at least that they were related.
Yeah.
Randy and her, and then mentioned basically Tim, but he was supposed to be the character she was supposed to be married to was supposed to be dead. And then you eventually get Tim the Tool Man later.
Yep.
So I mean, I love that these guys are all still friends and still play a part, and yeah, they'll do well with this. I'm looking forward to it. I really like anything Tim Allen's kind of tied to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool that they're doing that, and they gotta. Yeah, that's very cool. And then, yeah, folks, and then we have the Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight reveal trailer. Holy crap, that trailer!
It looks pretty good. It's still a Telltale.
Yeah, I don't
game.
care. Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I like the idea of it. I like the game. I like Lego, games. Because I played the Star Wars ones. I played the original Lego Island.
Yeah.
When that came out in like the mid 90s, and my computer could barely run it. And like, I kid you not, like the game would like glitch out. And so this game is very much Arkham City,
but Lego.
And so, I mean, I'm all for it because, like, one, it's less gritty, it doesn't take itself as seriously. I'm all for it. So I'll probably be checking it out. It looks definitely like it takes place in the Nolan Batman universe. Because it's got the tumbler, it's got the bat suit, it's got the Joker with the cut up face. It's got like the 89 bat suit and parts of it too. So I mean, it could even be themed and skinned differently depending on, because I also have seen a different part with, the Batman Batmobile in it.
Yep.
And then Catwoman from Returns. So I think there's gonna be a lot of variation in design, but it should be fun anyway.
Yeah,
and I'm glad they used the classic DC logo.
Yes, that was nice. That was a nice touch.
I think that has to do with the man in charge, James Gunn.
Of course.
He's all about the classic, which I'm all for.
I have been seeing so many clips of him talking about the various things and the this and the that and the whatever, and I'm just like, okay, cool. I can't wait to see the stuff. Let's just see the stuff now.
Yeah, you'll be able to unlock different suits.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Super excited for that.
Absolutely. All right, and more podcasting because how about them podcasting conventions, folks? Anyone ever been to one of those things? Because I hear they're more grody than San Diego Comic-Con.
So I've been to one. I attended Podcast Movement during COVID.
Oh boy.
So it was virtual. that year.
Yeah, I remember.
I won a free scholarship to attend,
Yeah.
and it was virtual.
Mhm.
Don't get me wrong. It was, they had breakout rooms, they had all this other kind of stuff. It was okay virtually, but it felt like we missed, we literally did miss a lot of panels.
Mhm.
Because it really wasn't panels. It was kind of one-off webinars.
Yeah.
And Zoom, and it really wasn't all that much fun. The thing I did take away from it and I did enjoy was they did have some good information, but it seemed like everyone that was doing a webinar in a panel was some corporate shill trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I thought, it being a podcast convention, we would have panels of people discussing topics of conversation or, specific themes of something, not trying to sell something. Because I've been to a car wash convention for my current job, which I didn't know was a thing, but they have conventions for everything. I went to the panels of that, and there were some panels that were 100% trying to sell you on their product.
Yeah.
And then there were some other ones where it was a group of people discussing a certain theme or topic and taking questions from the peanut gallery out, the rest of us that were sitting out there watching. And those were the ones I found the most insightful. I didn't find much value in the ones that were just trying to promote something or, being Captain Obvious. And so it was kind of funny. My experience with it, I did go to some of the breakout rooms of companies trying to sell stuff. I went to the Mackie room, and I went because, one, they dangled the carrot of, if you attend every day, there's a winner every day.
Yeah.
If you attended every day, you got entered into the grand prize.
Interesting.
Because I was sitting working from home, and I had 2 or 3 monitors sitting on my desk. I just had one monitor going 24/7 on the convention, and the other sides I was working on stuff I needed to get done. And so, I didn't necessarily have to watch; I could listen. But the benefit of it was because I had the Logitech ClearChat Pro USB headset. It's still my favorite headset. They don't sell it anymore, and whatever one they have now that replaced it was garbage. But I needed new headphones, so I was like, "What can I win?" Because I didn't have any money, and I wasn't going to buy anything. And during that time, podcast equipment, headphones, microphones, all of it went through the roof, sky high. On Amazon and every other place, because everybody had nothing better to do than to podcast.
Yep.
And then a lot of them fizzled out right after. And then the prices went back down, but things were going quadruple the price, and depending on what it was. And so anyways, I attended these panels, and then the first one, got to learn about their stuff, got to learn about certain things, ask questions, and that was kind of cool. And then I won one of their USB auxiliary port headset, because they didn't have USB headsets.
Yeah.
None of the ones I won did. But anyways, that is my, when I'm doing intensive audio editing and I need complete, locked in, I'll wear that headset. I'm normally wearing a $9 or $11 Phillips over the ear headphone, so that I can hear myself talk. That's normally what I use. Even right now, I'm using that because it doesn't crush my head, and I can hear myself speak, and I'm not talking too loud. The other headset I will use, and it is nice. And when I've had to do events where I've had to have a headset, that's what I wear. But so I won that, and I was like, oh, this is great, because I have a headphone that died. And so they mailed it out. And then by the end of that week, I won the grand prize, which it was like the second grand prize. They had another one that had like a mixing board and some other stuff. But I won the studio speakers, the other headphones, which I've never opened. I mean, I've opened them. They're just in the case because I'm like, well, if something happens to my other one, I'll dig it out. But it's got 3 different types of cords, like a corkscrew, a regular kind, like a nylon cord that can all connect to it. It's very interchangeable. So if the cords die, I can just buy a random cord and plug it in to those headphones. And then I got a USB-C microphone, which at times I will use on my smartphone to record from, or I'll use it at work, or something. So it's a backup. Yeah. And so that one I keep with me all the time, like at work. So I have one there and I have one here that I'm using. And so I won that. And so that was definitely a benefit, but I knew what I was getting involved with. And then long story short, going to 2025 podcast movement. And this is directly quoted from Todd Cochran. And like I said, I didn't attend. It was in Texas this year. I think last year it was in Denver, but I couldn't get away.
Yeah.
Plus it was during the week, which made it
even worse.
Yeah, it made it worse. And then Denver traffic is not something I look forward to.
No.
It's
that mousetrap is a real mousetrap.
Well, I mean, something that could take you normally an hour could take you 3.
Yep. Just
because people, and then the way that they merge the intersections are crap. And then downtown Denver is horrid. Anyways, he says, Podcast Movement 2025, a turning point. I just returned from Podcast Movement 2025 in Dallas. The event was smaller than in years past, with fewer vendors and attendees. So that right there tells me, one, people be broke because they charge like $500 for a week at this event. Plus you're paying for, for hotel, and then you're paying for food, and then you're paying for flight. So it's like $400 to $500 to go. And so then he says, however, I will give credit where it's due. Their local outreach in the Dallas metro was effective. We saw new and curious creators from the local area attending. Okay, that's a bonus. Grassroots. And it says, that said, the reality is this: we did not meet new creators from outside the area. For a show that once called itself the premier podcasting event, that's telling. He says, I'll be blunt. Heading into this event, I thought this might be Blueberry's last podcast movement. In recent years, return on investment just hasn't justified the cost. But we walked away with close to 50 leads. For a show of this size, it should have been closer to 250. Still, considering my expectations were near 0, I'll take it. So that's also part of it. Todd's a great dude. He's definitely for the indies. Like, he has the podcast awards that, when I heard it was like, oh, the world's first podcast awards. And he's like, hey guys, here.
Yeah, exactly.
And I even was doing it. I was like, I mean, I've never entered it because I don't think I'll win, but it's at the same token. It's like, this guy,
yeah,
I'll be blunt. Like, he's one of the OGs. Like, come on.
Yeah,
respect.
Exactly. Yeah. But when has I heard ever respected anything?
Yeah. And when we chit chat, and, there was a time where, couple of times I've been laid off, like, he's reached out and been like, do you need any help with your podcast stuff? Like, I can, I'll help you out, whatever. Like, he's super, super nice guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so he says, but let's address the bigger picture, the creator gap. Podcast movement has shifted away from serving creators, which I realized that even back in 2020. Like, I felt it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it was very obvious. And I think people kind of just took it for what it was because they were still having the event.
Yeah.
And it was free, I think, ended up being free or something because of COVID. But
right.
But still, like, it was kind of, this is crap. So, and I know I've spoken to the guys that created Podcast Movement years ago, and they're good people too. But I think the money has kind of definitely gotten involved.
Yeah.
But he says midweek scheduling and high travel costs leave independents locked out, which I 100% agree. Like, that's 100% why I don't go. And it says there's no weekend crossover for those with day jobs or limited PTO. Same issue. I mean, I wouldn't go on a Saturday, but still, it still doesn't make it any easier. And I wouldn't go to one that's not in my direct area. Like, it's not something I find valuable enough to fly out to. That's just me saying that. But he says, even with discounted local tickets, the model doesn't scale. The new structure podcast movement now owns Sounds Profitable, which is it was another organization and newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very telling because these podcast newsletters have been getting very corporate-y, less indie based, very heavy on the sales and the gear and the advertising. Because if you look at the end of the newsletter, there's like a bazillion companies. Like I subscribe to like Podcast Tonight, Sounds Profitable, Pod News. And if you go to the bottom of like the Pod News newsletters, there's like probably 25 gold supporters.
Okay.
Under silver, there's probably 50.
Oh, Jesus.
Of different companies. And then it says our personal supporters. Then there's like all the people that have paid separately. And so, I mean, there's that. But and then you go into like the Sounds Profitable ones, and they have under their partners.
Mm-hmm.
There's at least there's got to be 100 companies.
Jesus.
A lot of them are similar. What's funny is there are some podcast companies, but I would say 90% of what's there, corporate radio.
Yeah.
So they've taken over podcasting entirely here.
Yeah.
And I haven't finished this article, but you go ahead and make your commentary.
No, it's just that radio woke up and they realized, oh crap, we need to get into this, because if we don't, we're going to be screwed, because we're going to be left in the dust, because radio is unfortunately a format that's left in the dust. I've lived in 2 different cities since 2017. Okay, technically 3. But when I left Kentucky in 2017 and Karen came down to Louisville, and I moved to Chicago to be with her at the time. Chicago was the last city I listened to radio in. Moved out to Washington, didn't listen to any radio in Washington, and I've lived here in Indiana for 3 years. Haven't listened to a single radio station, online radio station. The only radio station I listened to in the last, God, what's the math on that? What's 8 years? It's almost 8 years, I think.
Wasn't it Carter?
Yeah. No, Carter was already gone. Unfortunately, Carter was gone in 2016. The only radio station I've listened to in the last 8 years is Big Joe and Laura. Laura, who used to be on with Carter in Louisville, she went to Michigan and she's on 95.7 up there in Michigan with Big Joe. So I've listened to Laura Hardy with Big Joe and Laura on. Oh God, 7. I can't think of the name off the top of my head of the radio station up there in Grand Rapids, Michigan. But that's the only radio station I've listened to in the last 8 years. I don't care about, and this is coming from a guy who grew up listening to morning radio in Boston. Like, that was my life as a kid, listening to morning radio before school. Throughout my entire life, I would listen to morning radio all the time. I would listen to nighttime radio all the time. And yeah, no, I just don't care anymore. I don't know why. I just don't.
Well, and I had, I used to listen to the radio. I used to listen to Flint's rock radio, Banana 101.5, and they used to play Bob and Tom in the mornings, and then they changed it to the Free Beer and Hot Wings show, and I was like, I don't care anymore. And then all their disc jockeys kind of sucked, and I know some of the people there and at that town square station, and they're nice people. It just, I didn't care for the format change when it changed a little bit years ago, and I haven't listened to the radio probably in at least 10. It's been at least 10 years.
Yeah.
And even before that, I was listening to podcasts. Like, I pretty much switched to podcasting when I started recording with TF Wire, and when I was recording with or when I was listening to This Week in Geek and things like that. Like, I stopped listening to the radio. So it's funny. This part that he's mentioning, the new structure, podcast movement now owns Sounds Profitable. That's that newsletter.
Yeah.
And holds 50% stake in Pod News. That's the other newsletter.
Right.
And that's a lot of built-in advertising power. Plus, not to mention all the sponsors for all of those are now bigger sponsors in podcast movement, which means we have more corporate radio and corporate media instead of indie. He says, but consolidation won't fix the fundamental issue. The creator audience is slipping away.
Yep.
The future venues, South by Southwest and New York City, both are incredibly expensive. New York City may pull regional traffic, but if the dates don't shift to allow weekend sessions, creators outside the Northeast won't make the trip. South by Southwest, even less accessible. Hotels, flights, and tickets are through the roof. If podcast movement wants to win creators back, here's my challenge. Offer day passes. Ensure weekend access, a whole Saturday track at minimum. Decide who matters most and be clear about it. The business crowd or the creators who built this industry? That one is the most powerful sentence that he said here.
Oh, absolutely.
Decide who matters most and be clear about it. The business crowd or the creators who built it. And that is my biggest beef with podcasting now. That's why I had that rebuttal article with the guy on LinkedIn where he's like, podcasting is dead. Long live the show. And it's like, no, podcasting's not dead. Video shows are not podcasts. If you remember earlier YouTube, when we had, your Revision 3 and you had your, even looking at like the Philip DeFranco show or, a lot of these other shows, they were not podcasts. They were doing basically a TV show on YouTube. They were never a podcast.
No.
And they've just redubbed them as podcasts to say that, we need video, which is, again, it's another, let's sell gear and let's it's got to look perfect. And it's got to, you got to be mindful of all of this. And it's like, it's not a TV show. My office looks like a train wreck right now. That's why I'm not doing video, but
exactly,
it's a totally different, I can have this more intimate conversation on audio because I'm not paying attention to what I look like. I can have an open conversation. Yes, when I do MWire, when I eventually get around to doing that in the next month or so, I'm going to clean something up and create something in the background. But that's for that one show. Everything else is audio for me.
Yeah, exactly. And you hit the nail on the head, which is the exact same thing I've been saying, not only for years, but I've been saying it for the past month and a half. Audio podcasting. It is more intimate for me to be like this than it is for you to see my face on a camera. It is more intimate for someone to be able to open whichever podcast platform you prefer. For me, it's Spotify. Let's say I open Spotify. I go to this episode of Altered Geek. I add it to your episodes feed in Spotify or whatever. And I say, hey, I'm going to play this episode. Okay. Once I hit play on that episode, I basically close out my screen, put my phone in my pocket, and go do whatever else. I basically listen to podcasts like they are radio. I don't treat podcasts like they are radio in the sense of that they're radio shows type of thing. But I don't have to stop everything I'm doing and sit down and pay attention to a screen. Like if I want to watch television or if I want to watch a video, like MKBHD put out his Google whatever thing he did off the Google Pixel 10 thing, which we'll talk about here in a little bit too. I sat there and I watched the video because I wanted to sit there and watch the video, but that means I'm not doing 9 other things I could be doing. I could sit here and put on an episode of Pod Meets World, which they just did their season 6 recap episode, which was a really weird episode, guys. Really weird. Thank God they put in chapter markers, because yikes, really weird. A whole other thing. It's a whole other. But read that line again about the making a choice or being decisive or something.
Well, it's decide who matters most and be clear about it. The business crowd or the creators who built this industry.
Okay. Now it's funny. It's funny he says that because a couple days ago on my Facebook feed, memory popped up from a Facebook page. Be decisive, right or wrong, make a decision. The road of life is paved with flat squirrels who couldn't make a decision. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, he says this isn't just about one event. It's about whether podcast movement can remain relevant to the entire podcast ecosystem. Right now, it's at a crossroads. He says, for me, low expectations meant I left Dallas satisfied. He says low expectations. However, for the long-term sustainability of this event, satisfaction alone won't suffice. What do you think? Should podcast movement prioritize creators again, or is the industry too far down the business first path? And it's funny because a lot of names I recognize liked this. Like there were 45 of us. Like Daniel J. Lewis, he's the one that does the Audacity to Podcast. He's another one of the old hat guys. JD Porchlight does a lot of audio drama podcasting and kind of another old hat. Pod Vader works for I think it's Cumulus in their podcast division, and he used to work for Blog Talk Radio,
Blog Talk and Stitcher and all that.
Well, it was Blog Talk and Spreaker, and then he got let go because originally when I was working for the Blaze, they were going to sponsor me to go to Podcast Movement and speak on stage with him, and we both got laid off at the same time.
Oh wow, damn!
So like they were going to sponsor me. All I had to do was get hotel tickets, and it was in like Pennsylvania at the time, and I was like, oh, I could drive there, and I was in Michigan. And then Hank Davis, TPE Entertainment podcasts. And then, there's other names that I don't recognize in there too, but I thought it was funny. And then, so my rebuttal, I was like, I appreciate your analysis on this. I found most podcast conventions don't cater to the indie podcasters with limited budgets, but the corporate podcasters and organizations that pony up the dough. I said I attended Podcast Movement virtually during COVID, and even during that, it was mostly vendors and panels to sell me something from a skewed perspective. The price, the distance, the corporate feel, those are why I don't take these conventions seriously. I've been doing this 20 years and worked in it at a varying capacity, and when it comes down to it, the indie is always left behind because they can't afford it all the way around. Being in that boat again, because we don't get, free hosting with Spreaker anymore. And we, pay literally everything and then kind of bootstrapping it like we did back in the day. Yeah. I said, I feel it. And with AIs, it's going to make a lot of the information subscriptions to services, plugins obsolete when they can prompt it to create a similar product with no additional spend, which again plays into the fact that I knew what I was doing
Yep.
when I wrote this, because this was like a couple days ago.
Yep.
But I put 100% agree they need to be focused on who this is for and offer options virtually, even to the panel tracks for those who can't get time off but want to check it out and see what's happening. That being said, the hosting companies like yours and RSS seem more about the indie and the person than a lot of the others in the industry, which is appreciated. Make it about the creators, the business will follow.
Mhm.
And then James Cridland, who's another OG podcaster, he's like Rob Greenlee's another OG podcaster that's been with Todd Cochran. Like he was like with Libsyn and then with some other service, and I think he runs his own consulting now. But James Cridland is actually the editor of Pod News, which is 50% owned by Podcast Movement. I know exactly who all these people are, so it's just funny to me.
Yeah.
But he goes, offer options, virtually even to the panel tracks for those who can't get time off but want to check it out and see what's happening, because he quoted me.
Mhm.
He says, I understand that all sessions, both panels and keynotes, will be free to everyone this year with no purchase required, just like Pod News is, and Pod News has RSS feeds for everything. I just thanked him, but I don't know if that means 2025s will be available or 2026, but and then Daniel J. Lewis, who, like, I'll test his various podcasting stuff out, and we've chatted back and forth before. He says, I feel like this is Podcast Movement's placing their flag and saying they're for advertisers and industry people while trying to attract new creators at South by Southwest. But for existing active creators, I think Podcast Movement might no longer be an option for the reasons you raised.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah.
It's crazy. We live in a world where batty just simply batty. And it sucks because we should all be able to get along in the same pot. And creators should come first, like you said, and like they said. Regardless of what Steve Jobs said on stage in 2005, iPod, broadcasting, podcasting, fine, whatever. Sure, Steve Jobs said it first, yada, 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 what. But as you're listing off all these people that are all these OGs before came along, obviously, it had grassroots. It will always be grassroots. It will always be somebody's up and coming thing. What do I always say? And I probably stole this from somebody, I forget who, but everybody who gets into listening to podcasts, this could be somebody's first episode. Every episode is somebody's first episode listening to it. So, the creators have to come first. The corporate part of it, the business part of it, the sponsorship part of it has to come second, always. That comes maybe a year, 2 years down the line, I would think. At least that's the way I think about it. Like, you have to at least build your brand first. I'm not saying the promotion comes. Promote all the time. As soon as you start, as soon as you put your first episode out there, promote the hell out of that crap. But getting in the sponsors and the this and the that and the whatever, and no, the creativity has to come first.
Well, I mean, it's just funny going through the comments. Like, James Cridland, I have no issue with. He does write his articles without a slant.
Yeah,
like he even slammed some of the people that they've sponsored or
Right.
sponsored the thing. So, like, I don't have an issue with him. I have an issue with Podcast Movement itself.
Yes, yeah,
and what it's become. But yeah, I mean, I'm just reading the comments. You can hear, I went to Podcast Movement last year, really disappointed. Felt geared towards the procasters. Didn't like the vibe much. And then, another one was like, it was clear that the organization had lost its grip. on what podcasting was created for. It's about open accessibility and free speech. Anyone can do it and anyone can say what they want and feel. To then kick someone out of a podcasting conference who is a paid sponsor of the event because you disagree with them is absolutely wild. Because somebody did get booted. Like, it's the same thing with those podcast. I got to finish this article on it, but it's the same thing with these podcasting memberships.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what they're called. They're not unions, but they're like podcasting organizations with various members. I can't remember what they're called right now, but there's a bunch of them out there. And I was a member of one of them for like 2 years, and then the way that they were treating some of the people, and then it felt like very gatekeepy unless you were on their little in crowd.
Yeah.
So I chose not to renew.
Yeah.
And they asked me why, and I told them.
Yeah.
and then I've seen other ones trying
around here.
Well, and I've seen other people pitch me crap too, and I'm like, one, I'm not joining a membership model and paying somebody a bunch of money for that when there's not much value. There's not much value. Like, I've done a lot of those things, but yeah, I mean, I'm going down this tirade now at this point, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, it's, it's going to be interesting to see where things progress with it, and I'll watch it and kind of report back. But yeah, we're at this weird pivotal moment where podcasting is still evolving.
It's always been evolving. It always will.
Yeah, but it like I said, things change. Things will get different. But let's move on to, since we're on conventions, PulseCon.
Yes, PulseCon canceled. It is being reported from Canada's Fan Expo convention via Troy Collects that Hasbro will not be holding their annual online PulseCon event. Sorry, Jay Cochran, but you got to use spell check there, buddy. This year, and likely won't be the 1027 event either. Instead, they will be focusing more on attending fall conventions such as NYCC, MCM London, and LUCCA Comic and Gaming Convention. We learned during SDCC that Hasbro plans to sell exclusives at NYCC and MCM London this year, which is something they haven't generally done in the past. The online PulseCon event started during the COVID times, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, no PulseCon, no 1027. Okay, just give us a couple of YouTube recap videos then on the Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel from the conventions that you actually attend. Cool. Great. Okay. Sure. I don't know, like, I feel like again, this is going to tie, like, I understand, like, you can't have Google or Apple go to San Diego or New York or whatever, that they're their own companies. They have to put on their own events because they're too damn big to be tied into just a geek convention or a comic convention. That's not them. Fine, whatever. But Hasbro, you're one company with a multitude of brands that you could have multitude of tables or a multitude of whatever at these various conventions. You have each of these brands that can be featured, and that gets more people to your thankfully, I know it's still around. I'm not saying it isn't still around, but thankfully we are out of the, C times for the most part. I know it's still, like I said, I know it's still around. I know it still happens, but we're out of the thickness of all of 2020 and all of that. You don't need to continue to have virtual events to show off your products. Get out there and show us your products. And that's what they're doing. And I think this is a good thing. I think it's good that they showed up to San Diego. I think it's good that they're going to New York. I think it's good they're going to London and where GalucaCon is, where I don't know, we'll never that one. So, cool. I guess. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I honestly do not know what to think. I really don't. I don't know what to think.
All right. On that note, folks, let's, speaking of companies and their whatever, how about a 6-minute condensed version of the Google Saturday Night Live QVC? I don't know what the bleepity blap blah blah that was. So I saw the CNET video show up first, and I wasn't not going to watch the Google event because I am curious in the Pixel 10 Pro XL, and I was curious in the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. I would like a folding phone eventually. I don't think it's this one, but I was curious, and I knew I was in trouble when I saw the Google Instagram account like a day before the event post a teaser of Jimmy Fallon. Look, he's a cool host for the Tonight Show. I liked his acting in a couple of movies that I've seen him in. 2003 or 4's Taxi, and then 2005's Fever Pitch. He's okay. But this is a tech event. And a tech event does not need to be a cross between QVC and Saturday Night Live. And thankfully, most of our listeners are United States based. So when I say QVC, most people know what I'm talking about. If you don't, Home Shopping Network, whatever. But no, dude, seriously, like, I got into a whole comment war with somebody who is not from the US, apparently. That wasn't even the person that I replied to. It was somebody completely different that started the comment war. So somebody on the Google event live video said, "What's QVC?" I said, "You're either not American or you're too young if you have to ask." I think what I really just said was, if you have to ask, you're too young. I think that's what my comment was. And somebody else comes along and says, "Oh, well, what if you're not American and you don't know him? Blah, blah, blah." Why? The whole line back and forth, and I'm like, get off my lawn. Leave it alone. Like, this. Everywhere else in the world, they have Huawei, they have OnePlus, they have nothing. They have all these other cool things. Like, get off the Google stuff, folks. Like, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I got into a whole damn comment war about it. But this event was like, it was so cringeworthy. And I did watch the 1 hour and 16 minutes that this event was, after I watched the 6 minutes and whatever time that the CNET video was, because I was curious to see how actually bad it was. I don't know who any of the other people were. When they started the Google event and Jimmy came out and did his spiel and whatever, and they started introducing everybody, I recognized some of the names, and I'm like, for the names I recognized, I was like, why? For the names I didn't recognize, I was like, who? It was like an owl for like 20 minutes. Who? Why? Like I remember, and I know Google is not Apple, fine, whatever. But I remember old Apple events, they would have a musical guest at the end, like John Mayer, or insert musical guest name here, whatever. John Mayer is just the one I remember from the old days when Steve Jobs used to do the events when Steve was still alive. But like, I don't want this goes back to last week when we were talking about we generally don't care about celebrity opinions. I don't want celebrities giving me their opinion of tech. I want the people at Google who made the mother product to tell me about the mother product.
No, I get it.
Like, which is why, again, at least for this specific event, I'm like, okay, I wasted all that time. I should have just waited for the tech reviewers and the tech community to come out with their opinions and their breakdowns of what it actually is, because every single tech reviewer that I've watched so far has done a better job of actually telling me what is in these new phones than the actual, like, oh, Google phones have this, or the color, like, oh my God. They flipped over the lemongrass, or over this or over that, and I was like, why? So yeah, Google. Folks, if you really need a recap of the event, I suggest watching any tech reviewer you trust. Like I said before, I generally watch Mr. Who's the Boss, MKBHD, Mr. Mobile, Michael Fisher. Those are the main three that I watch. I watch a couple others. I watch The Unlocker, a bunch of others, but watch the CNET video, because 6 minutes is better than an hour and 16 minutes. And originally, the CNET video, I didn't realize it was them just cutting up and just having a cut up version of the event. I thought it was the CNET people commenting on the event. I rewatched that video. I was like, wait, you just cut it up and did a super cut of it? That's all you did? Oh my God. That's weird. Any thoughts?
I'm not a fan of like any of these type things, but if I was going to watch one, it would have to be from like the olden days with like Steve Jobs and stuff.
Yeah, generally
I don't generally care what celebrities have to think, and that kind of plays into the thing of when we were talking about last week with Seth MacFarlane, where he's like, yeah, and I mean, even in some instances, it kind of plays into the thing that Ricky Gervais said at the Oscars a number of years ago.
Yep.
Thank your family, thank your, and shut up, get off the stage.
Yep. And the thing of it is Google's events to this point have not been this. They have not. This is the first time they've done this. Every other time I've watched a Google event, it's been their team coming up and saying, oh, hey, I'm this from this department, and we like this about this phone, or we're going to highlight this from this. It's the people that actually worked on the mother product. That's the, so this is just something really weird. And I don't know how much money they lost on that event, because, I mean, Jimmy Fallon probably cost a lot. And then all these other, like, there's a couple of sports people, there's a couple of this people, a couple of that people. That must have cost Google a lot. And
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
I don't think that we need like a Tonight Show.
No.
On this.
No, not at all.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
Yeah, no, not at all. And then, folks, there was the cracker that broke the barrel.
I think I've just gotten to the point that, and I've been seeing more and more of this, where people are just like, oh, the corporate America is just getting boring, and we've hit, when we were kids, everything was fun and it was flashy and everything else, and nowadays it's like, wah, 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 we're sad and depressed, like, and so's the company.
I wrote this in our script as the laziness in design language of logo, and that's what it is. Like, I don't know, somebody else posted the one I sent you, but and somebody else posted actually both of them, but the one I sent you was the difference in McDonald's, the difference in Pizza Hut, the difference in Cracker Barrel, the difference in Taco Bell. Like, it's all like they want them to now be modern office type looking places. And like, Cracker Barrel, for some odd reason, I don't know why, is my dad's. Like, every time my dad comes to see me, my dad lives 2 hours south of where I live. Every time he comes up here, it's like, first place he wants to go is Cracker Barrel. He likes the atmosphere. He likes the food pretty much. I mean, and the food at Cracker Barrel, it's your standard country fare. It's meatloaf and gravy. It's mashed taters. It's biscuits. It's gravy. It's whatever. It's steak. It's every what made Cracker Barrel cool was the atmosphere, was the design of the place. Like, I remember, I think I have a photo of this on my Facebook somewhere. We were there one time last year, maybe a couple of years ago. I forget. I don't know. I've only been living here 3 years, but we got sat in like the main dining room part. It was right around time, so it probably was last year, most likely. They had the fireplace going. I'm pretty sure from the videos I've seen in the new remodeled version of Cracker Barrel, I'm pretty sure they ain't going to have a wood burning fireplace anymore. Like, and it's just like, but the memes that are coming out of this, oh my God.
I've seen so many companies changing their logo temporarily.
Yeah. I don't think this is a temporary change for them, though.
It's not. I think somebody somewhere thought this was a great idea.
Yeah. I think my favorite meme that came out of this, because everybody's been like Thunder Cracker Barrel, get off my A-frame. Somebody's been doing all kinds of, but the best one was Morpheus from The Matrix with red pill, blue pill. Cracker Barrel on the left, Wicker, Nostalgia, Gift Shop, Triangle Game on the right, the new one. Mm-hmm. You realize that it has been a soulless corporation the whole time. Oh, God. I just don't. Why now?
Well, like, I mean, you look at any of the brands, like their buildings look bland. There's nothing that makes them stand out anymore. Like they all kind of blend into the background.
Yeah.
You drive by a McDonald's, they all look the same. You drive by a Taco Bell, they look the same. You drive, like, all the buildings look exactly the same, just with a different logo slapped on it. And so to me, that just kind of speaks to the fact that I'm just not going to pay attention. Like, it becomes just like, it's harder to recognize it. And so, like, if you're looking for McDonald's, you normally would look for that old style building that no longer exists. Their interiors look bland as heck too, like any of those. I don't love going to any of the fast foods. Like, honestly, anymore with fast food, I honestly prefer to just go eat at Applebee's or Red Robin.
Yeah.
I get more food. It's cheaper. The experience is better. It doesn't look bland on the inside. They still have like a flavor.
Yep.
And I just don't speak with my wallet. It has nothing to do with like I know some people make it into a political thing. I don't care. Like, it's just the fact it's boring.
Yeah.
There's just nothing. There's nothing to draw my eye to the place.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that is the key issue.
Yeah, absolutely. But I've seen some of the videos of people showing the inside, and I'm just like, oh my God, what did they do? They basically neutered the place, and we don't like getting political, and we don't want being what I'm about to be, but a woman's in charge of it, so a woman's in charge of it, and they removed a man from the logo. Damn, folks, damn.
It's like, go figure.
Look, I'm not normally that sexist, folks, but I mean, damn. Oh God. But yeah, no. And at the end of the day, it's a logo, it's a whatever. I don't care. Maybe Dad and I'll go and see, and maybe we'll whatever, but like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like and then there's what was it, the Newsweek video or whatever on channel or whatever news talk show. Oh, customers love it. Customers this, customers that. Our patronage is up 53% or whatever. You lost, like, your stock plummeted. I've seen so many scrolling videos on Instagram about how the Cracker Barrel stock has plummeted to the point of, oh my God.
It's not even worth buying at this point.
Nope.
Now, if it rebounded, that would be good to buy low, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then, we had Andre Smith on Facebook.
Yes, his was the best. Yes.
Yeah, he was like, just basically summarizing it. His core argument there was, he believes the issue with the Cracker Barrel isn't about political or regional divides, but about a loss of uniqueness.
Yes.
And he stated that it was about, changing something that worked well and was good.
Yeah.
And, he described the new logo as like sterile and saying it looks no different now than its competitors, IHOP and Denny's. He called the design rush, saying, take one big deep yellow block and add the words Cracker Barrel to it. How creative.
Yep.
There's no charm. There's no rustic old Southern general store aesthetic. There's no collection of oddities, no cramped small space feeling, that added to it. They essentially neutered what made it special. And, I mean, I feel like that's the big draw to stuff now. Like, that's why I like Applebee's and I like Red Robin.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't abandon what made them them. They're just keeping on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't change something that works.
Exactly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And so, I mean, Andre's, the whole thing, the modernization dilemma, he acknowledges that, things can be modernized, but insists that, the changes should be small, familiar, still resemble and maintain the same look and feel of what it is, but, don't erase the brand's core identity.
Don't neuter it, in other words.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he's like, well, I guess there's always Waffle House.
Exactly. This article that I have just pulled up here, coming from CBS News. This is from the other day. Cracker Barrel loses almost $100 million in value as stock plunges after new logo. $100 million in market value Thursday this is last week, after following the logo. Shares of Cracker Barrel fell $22 or 7.2% to $54.80 on Thursday trading, shedding $94 million in value. Yikes. And again, like, you're taking something that it's not just that it's again, what was wrong with the old logo? Like we said,
the main issue here is a lot of these brands have lost their uniqueness, their charm, their central brand appeal, and the fact that even in like his post, he was showing McDonald's and buildings that kind of visually reinforce his whole argument about the fact that old versions of every one of these places are unique, detailed, and full of character, while the new stuff is very minimalistic, generic, and interchangeable with other modern chains. So like it's basically the blanding of America, where it's a broader trend where many brands are just kind of going for that minimalistic, clean, gray aesthetic, which customers on a whole see as kind of a loss of identity and blanding of the consumer landscape. Like it's very boring, and there's no joy in it.
Yeah, no. Look, folks, we got enough joyless things in this world. We don't need joyless things in design of anything, not just logos, but anything. You ain't gonna find anything bland here at the Geekcast Radio Network. I can tell you that. We may like our repaints, but we ain't just a bunch of repaints around here. What? I had to bring it out somehow. Like, look, and I am all for sleek modern design. I actually like modern design kind of stuff, but there's a difference in being a sleek, sexy import and being a toneless, deathless, blind, whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy.
Yep. So I think that about rounds this episode up. We've had, a full gamut of discussion on different things from movies to Marvel to TV to video games to podcasting to conventions and restaurants. So let us know what you guys think on the episode post, geekcastradio.com, and find this episode of Altered Geek, which should be in the slider this week. If not, depending on how this sets, it's either episode 449 or 450. There was a little bit of a mistake on the episode count last week, but I think somewhere some of the episode numbers got jumbled up, but
I don't know how, but
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, regardless, that does it for us here this week. And let us know if there's anything you guys want us to cover next time on Altered Geek. So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.
From classic icons to new sci-fi dreams, with every episode we'll unravel the themes. Let's geek out and laugh, keep the spirits high. Together we'll journey, reaching for the sky. Discussion, let's dive into lore. From Star Trek to Transformers, we're ready to soar. Superheroes clash as we spark up the flame. Altered Geek Podcast, remember the name.